We are asleep, but life is a dream. But once in a while, we wake up enough to know that we're dreaming.
When we calm our mind, we can change the world, and we'll never feel alone, never alone, forever. When we calm our mind, we can change the world, and we'll never feel alone, never alone, forever.
How to be in this world and not of it. How to find a place of your own. How to never feel
There is one
alone.
hope beyond every challenge, a light between the clouds, a melody. There is a divine smile, the power of true love explodes every problem. Show me the way. When we calm our mind, we can change the world, and we never feel alone. Oh, never feel alone. Forever. When we calm our mind, we can change the world. Never feel alone. Never alone. Forever.
We are asleep. We are asleep, but life is a dream. We are asleep, but life is a dream. But once in a while, we wake up enough to know that we're dreaming.
We are dreaming.
We are never alone.
We're dreaming and we're never alone. I love being in this collective dream. It's so nice to see you again, all of you. Welcome to our weekly show, co-hosted with my dear Michelle, for a film, I Am Never Alone. As you know, Michelle is the director of the film, I Am Never Alone. It's the story of a mother who loses her son to suicide and goes on a journey not only of self-discovery, but also truly understanding what it is that this reality is. She meets Deepak Chopra, she meets incredible speakers and scientists like Dr. Gary Schwartz. And she goes on this journey of self-discovery, because when you lose someone you love so much, you realize that you are actually in love with the world, but you didn't realize that that world was actually the self-exploration. So obviously the film touches on suicide prevention, it touches on mental health, it touches on depression, anxiety, impermanence itself, consciousness. So that's why we're here today. Michelle pre-released a COVID cut for COVID times for these moments. So you can go to Vimeo and you can download the film. But we're still working on it. We're still constantly building the narration, and we're doing the documentary as well. So there you go. So Michelle, back to us. Which guest do we have this week? And I think it's very intricate, film.
Today, it's really exceptional. Oh, thank you, Punacha. We would like to host you as soon as...
The warrior monk who needs to come on and lead the world through warriorship.
We need to host our Punacha, because with Punacha and Deepak all together, we create this Never Alone movement. The most important, maybe it's what we will see today, it's to bring hope, to bring solution. Every day we see on the news the disaster of the suicide, the depression, and today I saw 46 million people, American people, lose their job. So we see a lot of difficulties. But in the same time, there is a place in the world, in America, we see an amazing hope. On the population the most affected by the suicide, the population incarcerated. So in the film, Gabriela, you play the character of a meditation teacher.
Yes.
In this place it's Amity Foundation, because at Amity Foundation, it's the result is absolutely exceptional. It means that on the population the most affected by the suicide, depression, addiction, Amity Foundation makes an incredible program, an holistic program. There is yoga, nutrition, coaching, meditation, fitness, social emotion. There is an holistic approach, and it saved the prisoners of Los Angeles. It's an amazing hope. And in the film, Gabriela, you play your own life.
Yes, I do.
You come many times with me to guide the prisoners, and also especially as you came for the lifers, for the prisoners incarcerated all the life. So really today, this show that we do together, Gabriela, me, and all, it's an amazing hope that we can host the CEO of Amity, Doug Bond. He will explain to us the incredible positive result in America. It seems it's one of the best. So we are so happy to host you, Doug. It's an honor to host you today. And with Gabriela, we would like to have a first question to you, Doug. What is the mission of Amity? And can you share with us this amazing hope, this amazing positive result, maybe one of the best in America that you develop at Amity Foundation?
Yeah, thank you, Michelle and Gabriela, for having me today. It's an honor, and we greatly appreciate all the support and everything that you've done to help support our students. Amity Foundation's mission is really based on transforming lives. We work with men, women, and children to help people come home from incarceration or that have suffered from addiction, poverty, racism, violence, many of the challenges in our society, and really bring them to a place of habilitation. A lot of the people that we work with, we talk about rehabilitation, but most of the men and women and our students that we're serving have never lived in a really right way. So we're teaching them often for the first time how to live right back in the community. And so it's a real honor. I can say myself, as you know, I've had the opportunity over 35 years ago to be a child that went through Amity with their parents. Have been fortunate to experience my life changed by that as a child that was in foster homes and that grew up with parents in prison. And I know that all the students many of the students that we represent children in our community. And really trying to make sure that generational change is in place, so we ensure that they're back home with their families and they truly get the healing process for their families, for their children. You mentioned former lifers. Many of our students have done 25 years or more of incarceration. We have a lot of our faculty and workforce like myself that have been personally impacted, which I think brings a certain passion to the work and credibility to the work of having that kind of firsthand commitment and dedication.
That's beautiful. I love that you said that it's due to our own personal story that you know that you can create that difference in the community, because it's just proven, it's proven through the resilience process that we have as individuals. And that's why I think, the power of sharing your personal story is as important and is part of a holistic experience, that Amity offers. And
that's really a big, important part of the teaching therapeutic community, is having that interaction, making sure that every part of our organization, from the top down, any aspect, we call it a bottoms up approach, and top down support. So we want to make sure that we all give feedback, we all have a voice. And like you mentioned, the power of our story is so important to helping others to know that they can heal and they can transform their lives and change as well.
Can you explain to us, Doug, the program of Amity in a few words? I mean, there is a meditation, of course, as we do.
Yeah, so it's a teaching and therapeutic community model, and it really is based on a peer-to-peer approach that is really having community as method. Community is the healing component of that, is we have many areas from substance abuse treatment, behavioral health, healthcare services, employment services, housing, many ancillary services, but the engine of it, so to speak, or the soul of our organization is really community and developing that sense of community, bringing people together from multicultures, educating people on various cultures. Prison and incarceration really promotes a lot of hate and racism and violence. And so we have to work to change that through teaching and through...
Can you share with us, for example, one of the story? Gabriela talk about the exchange of the stories as you talk. Can you share with us one of the story, for example, that you have lived at Amity, where you were very happy about the result? You say, wow, what a beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many that are just amazing. Ozell Johnson is somebody that comes to mind. He is helping to run our Beacon campus, which is lifers, people that have done, typically 25 years or more. Ozell started with us. Today is at the end of this month, July 1st, will be our 30th anniversary and working in the state of California, the prison system. And so Ozell was one of our first students that started with us in the prison over 30 years ago. He then got out about 4 years ago, went through a process with us, 5 years ago, and now he is our director one of our directors for the campus. He's worked for us longer than most people, but he did it behind the walls and in prison. He has 37 grandchildren. He has 6 children, and he is somebody, and I think he has 4 great-grandchildren now. So, he's somebody that through his transformation, so many people are being touched, so many lives. He's helped so many people in the community. When you go to our Beacon campus, which as you have, he was one of the reasons that actually came to be. He was one of the first people that we were able to help that was a former lifer. And there's many stories of that are connected to people that have worked with the organization for decades that personally transformed their lives. We're getting ready to start our first women's campus in California on September 1st. We work in both of the women's prisons in California, and we've been working on that for 2.5 years. There's been some amazing transformations, and a lot of the people that run the organization, the heart of it really, and the culture changers in the organization have been a group of very strong women. And I think that it's very important to recognize that, because women are largely underserved. It's the highest increasing group of people that are going into prisons and jails, and probably one of the most underserved groups. So it's a real deep commitment to us as an organization, for me personally, because I've seen this, with my mother and with the women that have helped me to transform my life. And I think it's just an important thing to acknowledge, because we lose sight that because of the number of men that go to prison, there are a lot of women that are going through that as well, without the same level of service and dedication and commitment to helping them as well.
It's very interesting that you say that. So when you say underserved, is it because there's less awareness around women being in jail, or is it just there's less programs and outreach programs? Because why is that?
So there's a lot of reasons with that. I think some of it is, yes, there's less programs available, but there's more of a stigma around a woman going to jail or prison than there is with men. And so some of it is the culture of in our women's prisons and programs. If you're a man and go to prison, usually you have a lot of visitors and a lot of support. Somehow, if you're a woman and go to prison, you don't have the same amount of visitors, support. And if you have left your children and gone to prison, there's more of a stigma behind that than being a male and leaving your children and going to prison. And I think people don't really understand that dynamic and how that really affects people coming out of that situation. I go to both prisons and, that we work with our women at, and you see very different level of support for them. And it's really important to highlight with women lifers, they're less likely to be released than men. You can have people that do the same crime have actually been committed to a sentence at the same time, and the male will be released before the woman is released. And I think that there's a lot of issues with that in the community that need to be addressed. And still, I try to mention it every chance I get because I think it's important and something that is often not focused on.
Well, I think, first of all, thank you for sharing that, because I was completely not aware of that. Obviously, I'm aware of gender inequality, and I've been working with, the UN Women and the UN Trust Fund to End Violence Against Women. So,
right.
I know all about that aspect.
Right.
I just was not aware of the underserving of women programs in prisons, and I just think that even in that area, there's a stigma for women. I mean, I'm sorry. There's a point where this has got to stop.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm a woman. I know what it's like to be a mother, and generally women do everything they can for their children. So to be separated by, whatever reason that is, when you're incarcerated is a huge tragedy.
Right.
It's huge. And
women tend to do much better when they have access to programs because they're motivated through having their children back in their lives. We actually have programs that have women and children. In our Arizona facility, we have programs that are designed for women and children like I was at one point, that was able to be with my parents. And I think it's just so important that we really understand that, and that people realize that stigma, and even in this day and age, there's that kind of viewpoint that really needs to be changed. And organizations have to do, like Amity, have to be groups that step up and say, we're going to do this. A lot of it has changed over the years. We're fortunate to have those opportunities now. We're very excited to open up our first campus. We've had several campuses that are mixed with men and women. This will be a dedicated campus for women to come and heal and have a safe place to be.
Wow. I definitely want to be of service to you. So please let me know what we can do. I'm sure Juliana Klenkerk, who's actually our producer of our show, but she also teaches meditation and Amity. So I'm sure she's obviously one of the prime teachers there, but I would love to,
Of course, Doug, Gabriela, me, Juliana, we are extremely grateful to work for Amity, to bring a new approach of meditation. And I have a question for you, Doug. Do you think that the new approach of meditation that we develop at Amity, because our approach is very different than the usual approach, do you feel it helps to reduce the suicide when we quiet the mind like that of our students, and also for the faculty members? Because your idea was genius when you say, Michel, we need program for the students, but also for the faculty members. Do you think it helps for you to reduce the suicide?
Yes, absolutely. I think without your services in the meditation, mindfulness has been essential for our success. And I can't think enough. I just know the challenges that people have coming out of prison. People don't realize that once you've done that kind of incarceration, coming out, being back in society, the stressors for all of us that deal with it day to day, just living in a community this size and a place like LA, and coming out after 20 years, and your last reference point for the community was very different. It helps to really calm people so they can focus, and really we're trying to get people centered so they can focus on their core issues. And there are just so many challenges in terms of reunification, a lot of anxiety with the unemployment challenges. You can imagine just for the average person, it's challenging right now. It's about 3 times more challenging for anybody who's been incarcerated. The likelihood of homelessness, the challenges with that, just so many things that they face, that this really helps to calm them and our faculty, because they carry a lot of the stress as well too, because they're carrying these stories. and they're the fact, they have to sit and help people navigate through some very difficult life experiences that they've had. So that really helps them to take time to focus on themselves. And I think it's improved the quality of our workforce and our faculty, and it's improved the quality of the lives of the students that we serve.
Doug, I would like to ask you a difficult question.
Sure.
What is your message if you have someone facing to you who say, I would like to commit suicide? What you say to this person if you meet someone like that at this moment?
I would say to not give up and to really look within. And I know that somebody is, if they're in that place in their life, then they have a lot of pain that they have to process. And I think a lot of times when people are in that mode, they're not thinking about all the other people that'll be hurt by that as well. All the decisions that comes along with that, and that there's a safe place for them. I would tell them there's a lot of safe places for them to be able to express their feelings, and what's bringing them to that point. I think people, a lot of people have struggled with that. And have had those moments in their life where they want to give up. And so it's not uncommon, but I think that that's where people have to share their stories with each other and share their experiences. So, and we've had this, with many people, people that are using drugs or people that are committing crimes or committing violence, it's because a lot of them have been traumatized themselves. And I don't think people realize that people that have done things have actually been victims more often than not. And it's often when they're children and they don't have a voice. And so it's putting words to that. It's expressing when somebody was vulnerable and something happened to them. And a lot of times it's very hard for people to express that. So I think, we try to create places of sanctuary and safety so people can express that so they don't act on it. And we'd prefer that people express it rather than act on things like that.
You say something amazing. You use the word sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
I have a blessing to work to support our brothers or sisters at Amity since around 5 years. It's amazing when we realize that in the middle of the chaos of downtown Los Angeles, America, in the middle of the storm, there is a sanctuary.
That's right.
There is a place, quiet. It's amazing. At the end of every session, as you know, Doug, we make a survey. We ask every student, how do you feel? Since 5 years, 100% of every student say, I feel calmer, I feel quiet, I feel rejuvenate, I feel free. So, Doug, when you talk about a sanctuary, Gabriela, me, and I'm sure Deepak and Punacha, all we want to say an amazing gratitude, admiration for what you do every day. And Doug, we want to say thank you. We see you at the end of the talk show, but you can stay because we have an amazing example. We have Wayne. Wayne is an exceptional story when you know what means to be incarcerated, and you are an expert in wellness. How is it possible that we are incarcerated and you are today an example? You are a guide in wellness. How is it possible, Wayne? Tell us.
Well, this is, first of all, thank you, Michelle and Gabrielle, for having me on the show. Thank you so much. And this is just yet another one of the billion examples that anything is possible. Completely anything. It doesn't matter how crazy it may seem, how impossible it may look. Anything is possible for anyone at any moment, at any time. And I believe for myself, it was very simple. And hindsight is always 20/20 looking back. But the universe sometimes has to shake you up to wake you up. And I believe for me, that's what it was. I had been to jail many times, but I had never been looking at, so much time. I was looking at 12 to 15 years, just before the time of my transformation, if you will, and having 3 beautiful children. I had back then at that time as well. And that was really, for me, my children saved me. Not right away, but eventually, once I seen that, you know what, how could I have left my children in this position for them to have not to have their father, even though I may have been a little crazy at times back then, and not a good citizen, if you will. I was always still a good dad, and I couldn't believe that I had left myself in that position to leave my children there possibly without their father for 15 years. So for me, that was the eye opener. And again, like for your question, anything is possible for anyone. And that's why I'm not proud of the things that I've done, but at the same time, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to speak of them, because again, it just goes to that story of that it doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, what you're doing. You at any moment can snap your fingers and make a choice and change your life.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I just love, I love hearing. For me, I really believe in the power of storytelling, and the power of the healing of the spoken word. And when I say spoken word, it's the all the life, the invisible life that's embedded in that word, and then that word awakens consciousness in the audience and the people who are listening to you. So it's fascinating to me to listen to your stories, and I'm sure there are so many. Do you share them with your children actively? Like, is it something that you've done as a father?
Yeah, absolutely. My oldest, especially, I have two boys, Kyle and Aaron, who now are 25 and 22, and my youngest daughter, Jasmine, who's just turned 17 not too long ago. My two boys, especially, yes, we've had many different conversations, and my oldest too, especially, he has seen stuff that I kind of wish he never saw, kind of thing, and we have talked about it later on, as the years have passed, and he always, even to this day, will still bring it up out of nowhere. He'll just look at me and smile, and I'll be like, "What?" I can't believe the difference, Dad, in you. It's incredible. So we always have little moments like that, for sure. Especially when we're out there cleaning up and meditating and blessing events and all these different things. It is so nothing in comparison to what I used to do. So it's a drastic change, for sure.
That's beautiful. And especially, I mean, Father's Day is coming up anyway. But I feel that, healing is part of the example that we live, and obviously, our show is about really suicide prevention. It's about awareness and all of that, and how to be an example for youth, for our children, for the sustainability of our humanity, almost our species. So it's fascinating to me. I just want to hear more and more and more.
You know how I admire you. I admire you with all my heart. You are an example. You are an expert of the life, a real expert of the life. Thank you so much. And we see you at the end of the talk show. We are all together. Of course, we will see you again. But today we have this amazing moment with Reverend Temple Ace. For us, Temple Ace is an exceptional spiritual leader. And I would like to ask you, Temple, a question from my heart. Do you believe, Temple, that at the worst moment of our life, when we experiment the worst difficulty, it can be depression, addiction, suicide, do you believe that at the moment the most difficult, there is the end of God? Do you believe that there is a light suddenly at the moment, the most unexpected? Do you believe it's true, this theory? Do you believe it exists? What do you think about that?
Are you asking at our deepest challenge, do I believe that there's the same capacity within that moment that appears to be an ending, that it would be our greatest opportunity to begin? Is that what you mean? I mean, when I look at the capacity of a small plant that can break through cement in order to be in its life, and there's no way to really explain to anybody how that is possible. than I believe. I mean, I love that statement with Jungian psychology that says that first you realize you're asleep, and then you wake up, and then you die so you can be born. And you cannot die until you're born, and you cannot really come to this life until you are willing to wake up. And I believe that in our society, we often have it backwards. We see our problems as taking away from us. We see our challenges as zapping our energy, and why is this? And we get angry at some identification of a creator or a God, and why, where it's really the other way around. Our deepest challenges are what awake us. Our deepest challenges are what break us. They open our hearts, and for people to realize that you have many opportunities in one lifetime to be born. It's not just one time. It's not just one time around. And that was one of my greatest realities in the years of going to jail twice with alcoholism and doing different things in my own world, was to realize that I was not just a mistake. I made mistakes, but I'm not the mistake. And I think that's a defining difference for a lot of people. When you feel like you are a mistake, we make mistakes. I think it's Shirley MacLaine that says, we don't make mistakes, mistakes make us.
I remember, Temple, you say something like that when you came at Amity a few months ago. It was amazing to see you talking to the students. They were so interested with you. They can't wait that you can come again, of course.
Yes.
Temple, what was for you the moment you have experienced deeply this sensation that there is no resurrection without crucifixion? What was the moment of your life you have experienced that? Can you share with us?
I realized that I was an idea that was created, and if I continued on the path that I was, I would never see how that could turn out. And the disgust and the inner critic and the conversations and the languaging of how I was talking about myself, I realized that if I had spoken to other people the way I talked in my inner dialogue, no one would ever want to be around me. And somehow in that grace, I realized that if it was going to be, it really was up to me. And that if I really believed that there was a creator, there was a God, that I was giving it kind of a pathetic reality of what I was supposed to look like. And I didn't want to do pathetic. But in day-to-day practical psychology, what I started practicing for myself years ago is that I started seeing my life and looking at the good as 80% and the things that could use correction at 20%. I think often people look at their lives as 80% messed up. You know, where we have COVID, we have violence, we have challenges. You know, I'm not in love. I don't have the money I'd like to have. We focus on the 80% is what's missing, instead of the 20%. And that's been a key marker for me in that reality. There's a great call within all of us to claim our inheritance, to really claim the very nature in which we live and move and have our being. And if I can just let go of the illusion of control, everything I'm seeking is right there in front of me. My job, my task as a spiritual being immersed in my own humanity is to keep my heart open. Because as my heart is closed, I see nothing. I feel nothing. I don't see compliments. I don't see joy. But the key is keeping one's heart open.
Temple, thank you, Temple. Thank you. When you say we are not the mistake that we commit, for me, this is a beautiful Buddhist teaching, very adapted to our time.
Yes.
We are not what we do. We are not what we do. Temple, your words are a medicine, because many people can listen what you say. And you are in the film, of course. You are you are my favorite seconds. You know.
True. It's true.
with you and Gabriela. It's really exceptional. So Temple, really thank you every week to be with us. Each time you find new angle, new story. We love you, Temple. You are so
love you. And I was so humbled by the privilege of being able to speak at Amity, and I do look forward to being there again. But I will say that the prisoners there, I would say about them in our society what I say about children. They are our teachers, and they are teaching us what we need to know and learn about our society, about our communities. And instead of ousting them and languaging them and saying, well, you know, that's that group, it's a deep missing for our humanity when our hearts are not open to, because within every prisoner, and that's what I saw as I was visiting there, there was a little girl inside there, there was a little boy inside there, and all they wanted is to know that they were capable of being loved. It's very powerful.
Thank you, Temple. Thank you.
Thank you.
And today we have also an amazing guest. I say all time, after Carlos Santana, is my favorite guitar player in the world. He is the guitar player of Madonna, Dario Argento, Celine Dion, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, all the stars of America asked to him to play guitar. And he is one of the composers of our film. And Gabriela and me, the first day, I remember, Gabriela, you, when you listen to the music that Paul composed for the film, you say, Michel, wow, I love this music. It brings the climax with two notes. I love when Miles Davis say all time, when I play a solo, I play one note, but this is a good one. Paul Pesco is really like that. So we can listen Paul first on a video. Paul was in an amazing studio. You will see that a few days ago in New York, and he played live the music of the film, especially for you, Gabriela, for your birthday.
Oh.
Happy birthday.
Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Pesco, and this is Arden LT. We're going to play some music for you. This is from the movie I Am Never Alone. It's a movie by Michel Pascal, Deepak Chopra, and Gabriela Wright. It addresses mental health and suicide. This is a piece of music from the film called Meditation 3.
Oh, this is beautiful.
We will have another extract with Paul later today, and we have the chance to have Paul live.
Happy birthday, Gabriela.
Oh, thank you so much. This
You're
just
welcome.
so
So nice to see you, and thank you for having me. And it's such an honor to be a part of the a part of this and a part of the film, and it's such an important message.
Thank you so much, Paul. You've done amazing work for the film, and we're continuing, as we speak. But it's just so, like, your music just transports us.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It does. I love it, and you were with us at Carnegie Hall in December, and it was just, there's something about music that's healing. My sister actually, died by suicide.
I know about that. I'm so sorry.
Health complications, but she was a musician, and when I speak about her, I always say that she is.
She is. Well, she's
music doesn't die.
No. What instrument did she play?
Guitar.
Oh, man. Well, I'd love to do some of her music at some point.
Do you think that your approach of music is to transcend the death, it's to transcend the life, it's to lift up our soul in another state of consciousness?
I do. Yeah, I believe it's funny that I used to, I would practice on my own, in my room for hours and hours. But my, parents' room was right above theirs, and they would be sleeping. But I used to envision the notes that I'm playing, just I had a great teacher who said you need to sing the notes that you play when you play a solo or when you're playing a guitar. Sing, but in a way, like the way we use our voice, sing through your instrument. And I used to envision the notes just emanating out, but then going out into space in a way, and just thinking about how these vibrations that we create harmony, moments of perfection in a way, or things that we like to hear, or things that are pleasing, things that express what we're feeling. So I do feel that there is something incredibly healing about music. But I believe that it's pure expression. It's why people who speak different languages, who might not understand each other when they're trying to speak a language, but listen to a piece of music or say something, or play a piece of music, and they understand each other perfectly through expression,
It's interesting also to, as you know, Paul, your music, we play your music at Amity Foundation every day, at every session.
I'm honored.
So the music that you compose in your magical studio, because the studio of Paul
right
is
here. This is where it all happened.
Exactly.
With me here in the studio.
It's an amazing sanctuary. This is your sanctuary. But
yeah, my sanctuary for sure. I've been.
Your music is a play for the prisoners in LA, and it's amazing to see your approach, like Myron McKinley, the other composer of the film.
Incredible.
Myron is so talented. So really, between Myron and you, Gabriela and me, we have the best music composer of America.
I know that Myron is honored, as I am, to be. To get called to do this, and it's not work, really. It's funny that's the one thing, is that it's a music, and working in production is one of the hardest jobs you'll ever love.
Do you say that the most difficult for this film was to find the good note, because there is a lot of emotion with Gabriela and Deepak? So how you can find a place? Do you say that it was the most challenging for you?
It was definitely challenging, but I have an approach, and it's funny. It's almost like the way when I talked about how you must sing the notes. In a way, the film and the emotion of a scene is kind of then becomes the singer in a way. It drives or implies where the music wants to go. So in a way, it's almost like magnetic to me, the way I perceive it. You perceive an emotion, like somebody's angry, and what is it? How does that feel? What does that make you feel? And it's funny, we use our voice to say something, but you could use an instrument to say that. And that's the way I think film composition, or my favorite composers who have been my teachers and mentors, or just life in general. You hear people speak. There's music there.
I see a comment of our brother Randy. Randy was with us last week.
Oh, yeah.
He's an exceptional master, spiritual leader, also for all the tribes. Paul, do you feel, you will say in your music, there is everyone say happy birthday, Gabriela.
It's tomorrow.
surprise for you. That everyone,
infinite age.
please, today, send message to Gabriela. She needs love. We are here to love Gabriela. She needs love. She's exceptionally courageous and talented. We need to send a lot of message. Please send all the message you can to Gabriela. Paul, we have another video with you, and we have also Deepak Chopra
Yes.
now in a few seconds. Just what do you feel about the music when you play emotion? Do you feel that the music is one of the character of a film?
Oh, definitely. Oh, it's almost. Let me close this sliding door here real quick. Nico, no.
Nico, this is a dog of.
He's hearing you. He's like, "Where's Michelle?" He recognizes your voice. It's so important. Such the invisible part of every great scene, I believe, is the music. It can be just so simple. It can be a sound or something, but without it, a scene can be so flat, or really not express the emotion in such a powerful way. And with just a couple notes, or with just setting the scene, the emotion of the actors, and coupled with the right music, it is so powerful. I believe that, and it's funny because we all feel it subliminally. And in real life, in normal, we don't have a soundtrack that goes on when, an accident's happening, but we perceive things in a way. It was like when people say God, it all happened in slow motion. It felt like, but we relate to it in that way. I think maybe it's our memories, or just how we think of a situation, in our lives. We go back there, and that I believe that music is one of the main characters for sure.
Yes. Oh, Paul, to finish, is it possible for you to take your guitar and that we play and sing Happy Birthday to Gabriela?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Of course.
Let me go grab it. I want to say a special thank you to Oxygen Studios, who recorded this fantastic performance. And it's a company coupled of Oxygen Event Works and another company called Direct Narrative, who've now formed together. They've been working on a lot of films with like Spike on Spike Lee. Is it on Do the Right Thing and stuff? They were so excited to help us do this. So I just wanted to say special thanks to them. Let me get my guitar.
Please, of course, Gabriela, it was a surprise for you that we sing for you with Paul Happy Birthday to our Gabriela.
My birthday is every day.
Oh, darling.
No. I'm embracing immortality. Yeah.
Oh, Gabriela, thank you so much. It's great to be live like that in the studio of Paul. It's very raw. It's very true like that. It's great. And we will have also Deepak in a few seconds, and a special other music with Paul also. So it will be a special acoustic version, especially for you, Gabriela. And everyone can join us. It's an interactive talk show. Not everyone can.
This guitar tunes itself.
It's amazing.
Come on, baby. Alrighty.
Happy birthday to Gabriela. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Gabriela. Happy birthday to Gabriela. Happy birthday to Gabriela. Yeah, come on. you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gabriela.
Happy birthday,
Oh,
Yeah, man.
thank you. That was so sweet. I love that.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. I love that Stevie Wonder happy birthday song too. Let's do a whole set of happy birthday songs. I know you don't have all night, so.
And we have the video of Paul. Now, Paul, you have an amazing present for us. You record and first, of course, we have Deepak. First, a video of Deepak, and after we come back to introduce your last song for the show. But first, let's see Deepak in the film Never Alone with Gabriela. And if you want,
the in consciousness
on Vimeo.
Can't be real. When you say, I'm a body, which one? A zygote, an embryo, a baby, a toddler, a teenager, an adult, an old person. So when you start to really examine the physical world very closely, including the physical body, you realize it's not real. Every perception is born, dies instantly. Every thought is born. If I asked you to hold on to the thought that you're having right now, impossible. Okay, so every perception is born and dies instantly. Every thought is born and dies instantly. Every experience is born and dies instantly. The impermanence is not over time. It's happening right now. And now is not in time. So once you realize that now is not in time, it's the only reality. The continuity that we experience of the world is because of the presence of spirit or presence of being, or what we call the soul. What has not died and what was never born was the sense of self. It's the same, I, which we call I. Okay, not I, me, the ego, but the I that is the silent witness of experience. It is there as eternally and now and timelessly. By eternally also, we don't mean endless time, because that would be in time. Eternity is timeless. It's outside of time. Your son right now is outside of time. You think you are in time because you're identifying with this experience, but the real you is also outside in time, and that's where your relationship is.
So he's free. He's free.
It's too abstract.
So we'd like to play another song here, song by Michael McDonald, written by Michael McDonald. It's by the Doobie Brothers, and seems to be a perfect song for this the time that we're going through now, and the sentiment, everyone speaking out and running and getting into the street and speaking their mind against this craziness. But this song is so apropos.
I Holy Spirit, this thing hell. You don't know what kind in your world. Very soon the time will tell. Can you tell me the things you're gonna do for me? I ain't blind and I don't like what I think I see. Just taking it to the streets. Taking it to the streets. Taking it to the streets. Take this message to my brother. You will find him everywhere. You find people marching together, chanting poverty's despair. Yeah, you keep telling me the things you're gonna do for me. I ain't blind and I don't like what I think I see. Taking it to the streets. Taking it to the streets. Taking it to the streets.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. I never knew one could sing with a mask on.
Temple, Wayne, Paul, thank you so much.
Not easy, but
I was gonna say, not
but but we were practicing social distancing, and you know,
yeah, it looked great.
it's one of those things that they say that as one of the most when you cough, of course, there's droplets are expressed, right? When you sing, even more. And so that's one thing that we have to be conscious of. And I was trying to stay far enough away, but yet play together. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
That was lovely. I loved it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Temple. Thank you for your medicine words. It's really, I cannot listen to you when you talk. I cry all the time.
I love it. We don't make mistakes.
No.
Mistakes make us. It's so true. So
true.
Beautiful.
Wayne, thank you. All our admiration.
Amazing what you do. And
you are an example. You are an example. You are PhD of the real life.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Just want to send a shout out to everyone, because we do with Echo Movement, we do global cleanups, and we have a challenge. It's called the Echo Movement Global Cleanup Challenge, and it's very similar to the Ice Bucket Challenge. I'm sure everybody remembers that. This one, you don't have to get cold and wet. All you have to do is see an opportunity to pick up some trash or litter in your neighborhood, in Mother Nature, anywhere really. Pick it up, take a picture, shoot a video, and post it, hashtag it, Echo Movement Global Cleanup Challenge, and challenge others to do it too, and to do it with an open heart, knowing that you're making a difference, leading by example, and together we're shifting the energy of all of humanity, coming together to live harmoniously with Mother Earth.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I would like to ask you something, Gabriela, today. In the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, when this is the birthday, the person who celebrates her birthday offers present to everyone. You know, it works like that in Buddhism. Can you offer to us a prayer, Gabriela? Can you make a prayer for each of us, for Doug at Amity, all the prisoners, for Temple, for Paul, Wayne, me, for every people who listen to us? Can you make a prayer for us? Please, it could be our present, because your life is our present. Please, Gabriela.
Now you're making me cry, Michelle. I think a very simple prayer is that may we all be the expression of love. May we all be love in action. May every moment be a form of reverence to the unknown mystery of life. May life be an understanding, an ultimate journey of wonder. May we go back to that childhood ecstasy of enlightenment. And may we always know that after the little tinge of pain, that there is always a beautiful gift that is wrapped up like the blue sky or the bird that's flying by or the wave of the ocean. So thank you. I'm just moved by all of you. So thank you for the work that you're all doing. It's beautiful. I almost want to say my tears are the prayer because I'm just moved. I'm moved to be doing this. I'm moved to be with you. I'm moved to listening to you. So thank you.
Umani Pemeum, Umani Pemeum, Umani Pemeum, Umani Pemeum. Thank you, Gabriela, to be in our life. Thank you, Temple. Thank you, Wen. Thank you, Paul. We love you.
Blessings. Thank you.
New talk show.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much.
Deepak.
Thanks,
We
Gabriela.
love you, Deepak. Thank you. Thank you to each of you.
Thank you, Arden LT, for playing keyboards with me. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for him. It was so beautiful.
You're welcome. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Andy. See you soon in Niagara Falls for a big show.
Thank you for
Thank you,
listening.
Paul, for singing. Thank you, Paul, for singing. Oh my gosh.
That was beautiful.
Over the top. Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you to each of you. Thank you, Temple.